And today is part 3 of our Getting Back to Basics series. And we're going to focus on targeting the root causes of behavior. Remember that before you enter into any problem-solving phase with your kids, you want to identify the challenge that they are actually having. You want to ask, is this developmental? Is there a relationship challenge? Or is this a regulation issue that we're looking at? You know, we parents, we think that we are so tricky. We use empathy and we acknowledge and we support, and then we say but, and we demand with high hopes of compliance. But you know that this might work with some kids and not others, or it might work when kids are young, but not as they gain more and more autonomy. I know one of my goals is to have my child listen to me as intently as she listens to the television. So let's enhance our own vision and be really clear about what we are aiming for. What's the goal? Telling will only get you so much listening. And if your kid is anything like me or my kid, he's gonna do a lot of,
But why? Why? You can't make me. You can't make me. This is so unfair.
So in today's Getting Back to Basics teachable moment, we are going to talk about redefining behaviors so that your actions actually prompt kids to make new choices instead of keeping them stuck in fear and resentment. When you have an ongoing conflict with your child, ask yourself, what is this challenge about? You have to pinpoint the source of the recurring negative behavior if you really want to eliminate it. So one of the first areas that we want to look at is, can we source this conflict to a developmental issue? Ask yourself, is my child having a developmental challenge? Are they lacking skills? This is when your child is having a hard time because they're simply not mature enough to stay composed or to make better choices or to think before they act. So your task is really to remain calm, sensing when that emotional storm has passed, and then with curiosity, engage your child by listening. This is going to prompt your child and his natural motivation to reflect on his behavior. Impulse control, self-regulation, these are all really important skills which require forethought before action, but they're not necessarily skills that are available to young children. So it's really important to consider your child's level of skill before demanding and then getting frustrated with non-compliance. But we don't leave it there. Just because we're having a developmental challenge doesn't mean that we sit back and wait for change. In fact, we have to be really willing to do more than just admonish or isolate a child who is in need of skill development. You want to help your child strategize about what he felt in his body before he made that choice, and then what happened next, or what coping tools might be available to use next time. It's not about obedience, it's about growth. Just because you think your kid can do it doesn't mean that he or she is always going to be able to. Maturity takes time, and skills take practice, so be willing to support the skill practice with non-judgment. Instead of, I gave you a chance to calm down and you didn't, so now we have to leave, you can use words like, you tried, but it didn't work this time. What can you do next time? Or we'll try again. This is empowering, not punitive. It sets the tone for problem-solving skill challenges rather than blaming kids for lacking them. When we blame or judge their actions, we disconnect them from our unconditional acceptance. Kids can't separate what we say about what they do from what we think about who they are. If this disconnection builds up over time, then we get relational challenges. So the next area to look at, especially if your child is experiencing rage or shows defiance or oppositional behaviors, is the relationship. Ask yourself, is this negative behavior stemming from a relationship issue or a breakdown in communication or connection? So look to see where your child feels disconnected or incapable, whether at home or at school, with peers or other authority figures. When kids feel that they don't have the relationship support to do what's being asked of them, when they don't feel that unconditional acceptance of who they are, they shut down and they stay stuck in fear. And then any response to the environment is imbued with that fear instead of the feeling of strength that comes from positive connections and strong bonds. You know, a lot of my clients start off by saying, oh, my kids know that I love them. Our relationship is strong. And then as they move through the program, learning to focus on protecting their partnerships more than they try to banish the behaviors, they learn just how disconnected their kids have felt and how much power they have to change behavior through their relationship. Critical tones or punitive attitudes, they disintegrate the bond with your child, but once that bond is reestablished, better behavior will follow. And sometimes it's as easy as reaffirming your unconditional love and acceptance for your child. You can use words like, you know, I'm concerned about how we're working together. I don't want to force you to do things, but something isn't working. Something has to change. What are your ideas? Or I got angry. I wanted you to help. I wanted you to clean up the things that you left behind, so I yelled. And I'm sorry because I was really asking for your cooperation and I didn't mean to scare you. Or I love you whether you remember to pick up after yourself or not. Maybe I can help next time instead of just reacting. These connecting words are powerful lessons in self-reflection, accountability, and being aware of our needs, but they're delivered to your child via your own emotional processing and not through your emotional reactivity, where you revert to judging and blaming your child for his mistakes. Okay, finally, the last area that we can look at, and the one that affects more kids than we really realize, is regulation. You want to ask, is this behavior challenge possibly stemming from a lack of self-regulatory skills? Some kids, whether by nature or nurture or some combination of traumatic events and genes, have sensitive systems, and it makes them more prone to anxiety and more sensitive to stress. They might misread your tone or simply read more into your tone than you had anticipated or were even aware of. Some kids can instantly pick up on your fear, your doubt, your worry, and without knowing it, those feelings, your feelings, are directing and influencing their behaviors without their conscious awareness. Or sometimes their perception of stimuli may be so intense that it's not your request, but the proximity of your body or the smell of your perfume or the noise of the crowd that causes your child to not listen. Essentially, it's the sensory system that's overreacting and shutting down your child's ability to follow your directions. When kids have trouble with self-regulation, it isn't because they are bad kids who won't listen, but kids who have overreactive systems who may interpret threat where there is none, or they may be hypersensitive to the environment that they are in, and therefore unable to manage the intensity of the sensations in their body and what they are taking in visually, emotionally, or physically. This can cause their behavior to be unpredictable, impulsive, or even aggressive. And I know that this is really what throws you as a parent. But these kids may need more support. They may need their diet evaluated for triggering foods or chemicals. They may need earplugs for noisy environments or stress balls to squeeze to help them stay calm or focused or attentive. Or they may need extra channels to get out that stress. It's up to you to be an investigator to find out what helps your child calm down and what helps him release stress. You know, it's also possible that your child is experiencing some combination of all of these challenges. But once you start seeing patterns and looking for root causes, then your child's inability to listen becomes less of a focus, and you start to find that you can help your child strengthen his skills, build those relationships, and support his self-regulation with more and more positive coping tools. So when behavior has you stuck in reactive mode, get back to basics by remembering to distinguish among the behaviors and start by addressing those driving motivations that are influencing your kids' choices. That was my teachable moment for you. I hope that you found it helpful, and I of course would love to know, so don't forget to share your stories and your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, did you like this video? Because if so, I would love it if you would share it with your friends and family or on your favorite social media site, because when you share the love spreads. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want more video trainings like this, be sure to get on over to my website at teachthroughlove.com, because when you subscribe for updates, I will send you my latest webinar for free to help you and your family create healthy, intimate relationships and long-term change. Until next time, please remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection.